All right, so let's get started. So we'll have a strap today, as well as the usual couple of blocks or so. Strap and blocks. And then we will start in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. Using those arms alongside, lengthening up, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. Maybe a little shifting and squinging. And then slowly releasing with the arms, letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, letting go of the rest of the day, just being here now in your body with your breath. And then let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms up. Inhale and exhale, breathing them down. Let's do that twice more, taking up lots of space. And then we will come forward. So noticing which leg is in front, because we're going to do something else and then come back to the other leg in front. And breathing across the back of the body. And then coming up, unfurling that spine. Make another little note of which leg is in front. And we'll go out to Konasana, the angle pose. If you have a blanket or something, you can sit up on that. And then using the arms behind again, lifting up, we reach out through the inner thighs, through the heels. And slowly releasing with the arms, landing on those sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. So I'm being the mirror here, though it's not really going to matter because we're doing one side and then the other. Let's reach out through the right arm, taking a big side bend up and over the left leg. While we anchor down the right sitting bone, reaching out through the right heel. And then a big lift up. Let's go to the other side. Left arm up and over. Trying to anchor the left sitting bone down, reaching out through the left heel. And coming up. Ah, and then we will come forward, pushing in the hands behind, hands on the legs, hands in front, whichever seems more useful. Making space in your body. Doesn't matter if it's not a very big forward bend. And then coming up. And we will change the cross of the legs. Other leg in front. And then we'll breathe the arms up again, interlocking the fingers, giving those elbows a pull, pressing up, grounding down, long and flat against the wall behind you. And then we'll twist to the right. Lengthen up, twist with the arms still overhead for a couple breaths. And then releasing the hands down, deepening into the twist. And coming back to the center, breathing the arms up, interlocking the fingers again, lengthening up, grounding down, long and flat. And then twisting left, breathing here with the arms still up overhead. And then releasing those arms, deepening into the twist. And coming back to the front. Inhale and exhale. And then we will come up in downward facing dog. Adho Svanasana. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do there. And then finishing with whatever you're doing, finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. Inhaling up to those sitting bones, exhale, pouring down the backs of the legs. And coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And coming forward into the Sphinx, pulling back with the elbows, pulling back with the hands, tailbone down into the floor. Maybe there's a little lift in the elbows, but don't force that. And coming down. And then let's bring the hands out across from the shoulders on the pads of the fingers. If that's too difficult, because actually it is kind of difficult, you can always just put the hands flat with the fingers out in a big diagonal there. All right. And letting the chin drop as we roll up. Reaching the elbows wide as we reach to the upper chest, coming down. Let's do that 3 more times. Rolling up, rolling down, or lengthening down. Keep reaching back through the legs. And then coming up once more. And then we will hold. So there's 2 sort of ways to approach this. You can try to make the arms as straight as possible, or you can really deliberately pull them out to the side. Works a little bit different muscles there. So being somewhere, breathing. 3, 2, 1. Calming down. And let's peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And lifting the right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Bending the knee dog at the high fire height. And through to the lunge. And we'll bring that left knee down and Jayasana. And let's interlock the fingers behind, rolling the shoulders out, sliding the hands down the back of the left leg. Lifting the chest to lift the chin. Arms up overhead. And Namaste in front. Stepping forward into the concave back, halfway up. Holding over. Taking a couple breaths here in the forward bend. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste in front. And then coming over again, big swoop up and diving over. Concave back, folding over. And we'll step back with the left leg and coming up in either the warrior one or the high lunge. So we'll make the warrior one the default today. Scooping that tailbone a little forward like the bridge pose. And calming down. Turn to the elephant rider. Stretching out those inner thighs. And then we'll turn to face the back of the mat, though you can always go back to the front if you won't be able to see very well. But let's turn to the back. And then stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, any version, downward facing dog. So even if you turned back to the front of the mat, we're all going to end up meeting up again in more or less the same place. All right, let's lift our left leg up. And through to the lunge. And we'll bring that right knee down, Anjayasana. Big circle of breath. And then big circle of arms, interlocking the fingers behind, pulling the shoulders out, lifting the chest to lift the chin. And bringing the arms back up overhead. Namaste in front. And stepping forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Folding over. Taking a few breaths here in the forward bend, reaching down through the feet, reaching up through the legs. Coming up to standing, big front body on. And around to Namaste. And coming over, lifting up, and diving over. Concave back, folding over, stepping back with the right leg. And we'll come up in the warrior one, or it could be the high lunge. Breathing into the pose here. Doing that bridge pose action with the pelvis. Even though our sitting bones are often going a little bit on the diagonal back. And then calming down, turning to the elephant rider. So I'm not the mirror here, though once again, we'll be doing it both sides, so it's not going to matter that much. All right, so for now, we're just going to bring our hands up on the legs with the fingertips down and elbows sticking out. It's like that giant bug cobra again. And we'll take a little twisting. Twisting to the right, dipping the left shoulder down. Twisting right, left, dipping the right shoulder down. Back and forth. And then we will finish with this. Make sure you finish right and left for yourself. And we're back in the center, coming up in the three-pointed star. And then arms to parallel, feet to parallel. All right, so I'm not the mirror. We're going to rotate our right leg out toward our original front to the mat, 90 degrees. Into the warrior two, inner thigh to inner knee over the front. And then dancing warrior, bringing that right arm up and away. And into the triangle, inhale and exhale, tilting out and over into the triangle. And then back to the warrior two. And dancing warrior. And into the triangle. And we will do that twice more. Warrior two, arrive. Dancing warrior, arrive. And the triangle. And once more, warrior two, dancing warrior, and the triangle. And then reaching the left arm over the ear, and pulling down and around to the wide leg forward bend. Prasarita Padottanasana. And then coming back up, big front body yawn here. Resting the arms down parallel to the floor, and then we'll do that on the left, the other side. Rotating the left leg out 90 degrees. Warrior two, inner thigh to inner knee over the foot. And then dancing warrior, bringing that left arm up and away. And into the triangle, Trikonasana. And then we'll move through that 3 times. Warrior 2. Dancing warrior. And triangle Trikonasana. And twice more. And breathe. And breathe. And even more breathing. And once more. Here we are in the triangle for a couple more breaths. And then reaching long through the right arm over the ear. Pulling down, turning to the wide leg forward bend. And then let's walk our feet into the center, heel toeing our feet into the horizontal center of the mat. Deep breath into the forward bend. And then we'll bend the knees, coming down onto the floor into Baddha Konasana. Feet together, knees out to the side. And then having your belt where you can reach up and use it in a moment. Lifting up, coming forward, pressing down on those inner thighs. See if you can feel a press with the muscles of the outer knees and outer thighs toward the floor. And come up. And then let's expand our legs out to Konasana. And then we will bend the left leg back into the half dragonfly. And coming forward here. And coming up. So we're going to Yantrasana again, this time with the leg out to the diagonal side. So your leg is probably going to go more or less the diagonal it is right now on the floor, possibly even a little less once you've got that extra piece of work trying to hold it up in the air. So bending the right leg in. And we want that left knee grounding down as much as possible, maybe putting a block under the left knee if it's kind of high. And belt around that right foot. Or if you know you can just hold on to the outer foot, you could do that. Hold on to the outer foot or big toe. All right, and then take a moment really lengthening up through the top of the head. And then we'll extend that right leg out on the diagonal side. So as that right leg is kind of pulling back, there's a little lift forward and up through the torso, holding on to the knee or the floor. Inhale and exhale. Maybe bringing that left arm up over the ear, sitting bones anchoring down into the floor. And then floating that right leg down. And we'll switch sides. Extending the left leg out, bending the right. One long leg, one short leg. Let's come forward in half dragonfly for a few breaths. And coming up. And then we'll bend that left leg in. And belt around the left foot, or else maybe you could hold your foot. And then before you try to lift the leg, just take a few moments where you can really focus on lifting through the top of the head, getting that base situated that you're going to be standing on, maybe a block underneath the right knee, long through the top of the head. And then we will extend the left leg up. Holding on, supporting yourself wherever useful with that right hand. And to lift forward and up. And then that leg also has got to press back, finding that balance in there. So this is also a balancing sort of a pose. Hopefully it's a breathing sort of a pose. This is one I have a tendency to hold my breath in. And then maybe bringing that right arm up overhead, standing on those sitting bones. And then that left leg comes down. Setting the belt aside, let's assemble our legs into the center of the mat, coming up into the forward bend again, where we came from. Taking your time. And eventually we'll expand back into the forward. And then walking the feet out to the edges of the mat again, back to our wide leg forward bend. And then turning to the right lunge, back to our front of the mat. And we will step back to the plank, through the vinyasa and inversion, downward facing dog. Three deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And then let's tuck our toes under. Rolling up onto the feet, coming up in the forward bend at the back of the mat. And all the way up to standing, big front body movement. And around to Namaste. And maybe you guessed this, so let's do Sukhasana number 2. So that's the leg out to the side, standing up. So get in your belt, or maybe you can use the hand on the big toe or foot, or you can also do the version where we just have the leg bent like so. All right, so I'm coming over to something for a support as needed. And then we'll put the belt around the right foot. And take a moment standing into Tadasana. For all that fussing around, finding a position, getting our belt, coming back into yourself. All right, and then off we go. Reaching down through the left leg into the floor as you bring the right leg up. Pulling onto the belt inside the leg. And then a diagonal out with the thigh and extending the shin out. Feeling like those sitting bones are sitting down into the floor. Lots of strength up through the core. If you're feeling steady and balanced, you can always bring that left arm up overhead. And then floating the right leg down. And we will go to the other side. All right, rearranging yourself as needed. And then taking a moment, really arriving in your body again. And we'll bring the left leg up, reaching down through the right leg into the floor, holding onto the belt inside that left leg, getting the thigh out a little bit of a diagonal as you extend out the left heel, pressing down into the right foot into the floor. Feeling like those sitting bones are sitting on the floor, long through the top of the head, using the core as well. And breathing here. And maybe bringing that right arm up overhead if you're feeling steady enough. And we will float that left leg down. And then coming back to the back of our mat. Deep breath, arriving back in ourself, in our practice. And coming over. Big lift up. And diving over. Arm came back halfway up, folding over, walking out to downward facing dog. And let's come forward to the plank. And so we're going to lower ourselves onto our belly on the floor. You can lower in Chaturanga. You can just come down. You can Asta Namaskar. And here we all are, maybe in a small cobra for a moment. And then we will take those hands out across from the shoulders in the giant bug position again. On the pads of the fingers or maybe the flat hand. And lifting up through the upper chest to come up, a little pull out with the elbows, and then we'll twist here. Dipping the left shoulder down to twist to the right, maybe coming all the way down with the left ear to the floor, and lifting back up. Twisting to the left, pressing the right shoulder down, and really rotate the head, ear all the way to the floor, and coming up. We'll do that back and forth a few times. So we also end up doing a very deliberate rotation of the head and the neck at the same time. We'll do once more right and left. And finishing in the center, maybe with straighter arms, maybe with elbow pull. And then coming down, letting the forehead rest on the hands, taking a few breaths here. And then we will peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. Oh, we're going to be headed to the pigeon too. So watch your blocks or anything near the front of the mat and they've gone astray, putting them up there. And downward facing dog. And through the vinyasa, any version. And then we're in downward facing dog again, and lifting the right leg through to the lunge. Coming up in the warrior one, or could be the high lunge. And then we'll do the interlocked fingers here. Lifting up the whole front of the body, all the way from the base of the pelvis, up and over. Tailbone does a little press forward. And then coming forward in the humble warrior. So we're not going to come back up from here. So you can go nice and low, maybe just along the thigh, maybe dipping that right shoulder inside the right leg. And then releasing the hands, and we'll make our way to the pigeon. Walking the right foot across, right knee a little forward, maybe sitting on your block. Doing that cobra action up the front, down the back. And coming forward and over. Inhale and exhale. And then come up. And we'll reach through that left leg, journey to the half dragonfly. Because I know we wanted to do that Yantrasana once again. So let's get our belts. Not to mention how much we're strengthening up that hand and lower arm there. All right, so left leg is going to go first though. As we get the belt around the left foot, or maybe you're going to hold the big toe this time or the outer foot. All right, take a moment, really lifting through the core, extending that left leg out to the diagonal side, standing down through those sitting bones. And then maybe the right arm comes up. And bringing it down. And then turning to the front of your mat, coming into child's pose for a couple breaths. And we will expand ourselves back up to downward facing dog, going through a vinyasa or not. All right, here we go, around on the left, lifting the left leg. And through to the lunge, coming up in the warrior one, which is our default for today, though you could do the high one. And then bringing the arms around to interlock the fingers behind, lifting all the way up the front of the body. Elbow does a little press forward. And then coming forward, humble warrior. So go down to the lunge. Try not to let the lunge come up to you. Maybe the left shoulder goes down and inside. And releasing the hands into the pigeon. And taking a few breaths here in the cobra action. And then coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. And then coming up into the half dragonfly, reaching through your right leg. All right, and once more, Yantrasana, the sundial pose or the compass pose. Bending that right leg, maybe using your belt, or you can hold on to the foot of the big toe, long through the top of the head, strong core, and then bringing that right leg up. Standing on the sitting bones. Maybe bringing the left arm up over. And then bring that right leg down. And let us make our way down to the floor. And maybe taking a few breaths with a block under the sacrum. Or you could stay there, Shavasana like if you like. Maybe a little unfold of the hip joints, a gentle back bend. Or you could go right to Shavasana because lying flat is a back bend in a way as well. To not flexing. And if you're on the block, maybe a little cooperating with the block, but maybe a little more easeful. Letting gravity do a lot of the work there. Rolling the backs of the thighs down, drawing the shoulder girdle down. So if you're pretty comfortable on the block and you're there and you want to stay through the end of class, you could do that. Or else making your way off the block, come to Shavasana lying flat. And wherever we are, as much melting as you can into the block, into the floor. And then breathing back into your body, into the room, moving the fingers and toes, getting the circulation going, maybe circling the wrists and ankles, stretching the arms up overhead. Bend the knees. And then gently making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with the long and spine. Taking a few more moments sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.